NATO reportedly just awarded a €6 billion contract to replace its surveillance planes, and for the first time in 40 years, Boeing didn't get it. Saab's GlobalEye won, according to La Lettre. We're talking a Swedish radar on a Canadian business jet. The kicker is that NATO originally picked Boeing 18 months ago, but then America pulled out of its own Boeing order, and now Europe has gone Nordic. I'm Elle, I have a PhD in computer science, and I use data analysis to spot patterns in geopolitics and economics. Here's what makes this genuinely absurd. NATO operates 14 Boeing 707s as its airborne radar fleet, delivered between 1982 and 1992, average age about 40 years. These are not museum pieces, they're Alliance's primary early warning systems, scanning airspace across Central Europe every single day, and they're so loud that the Dutch Ministry of Defense cited noise pollution as one of the reasons they need replacing. 40-year-old jets causing noise complaints at a German airbase is apparently now a strategic defense priority. NATO has been planning the replacement for years for many different reasons, not just noise. In November 2023, they selected Boeing's E-7 Wedgetail, no competitive tender, just a direct award. It kind of makes sense on paper. Boeing built every NATO AWACS since 1988. The E-7 uses 737 airframe with modern radar. Australia, South Korea, Turkey all operate them. Seemed like the safe choice. Then in June 2025, the US Air Force canceled its own E-7 order, not delayed, just completely flat-out canceled. The official line was that they're pivoting to space-based surveillance and keeping their existing E-2 Hawkeye fleet instead. In normal words, Boeing's Wedgetail lost its anchor customer. Without the US buying dozens of planes, NATO's 6 aircraft order suddenly looked expensive and unsupported. By November 2025, the whole thing kind of collapsed. 7 European NATO countries, that would be Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, Luxembourg, Norway, Romania, and the US, were splitting the bill. When America walked away, the financial foundation kind of evaporated. Dutch State Secretary for Defense, whose name I've butchered previously, Guy Stuynman, so sorry, put it plainly very well. The US withdrawal also demonstrated the importance of investing as much as possible in European industry. There is no subtext, no reading between the lines. That is the on-the-record justification from a NATO defense ministry. If you've worked inside procurement systems, you recognize what just happened here. NATO handed Boeing a sole source contract based on incumbency and US participation. The US then bailed on its own defense contractor, leaving European allies holding a suddenly uneconomical deal with a company their largest partner just rejected. The consortium cancelled in November, and 4 months later, La Lettre reports they've gone with Saab. Here's where it gets specific. Saab's GlobalEye costs roughly €550 million per aircraft. NATO's ordering 10 to 12 planes, total deal between 5 and 6 billion euros. The platform uses Saab's Area extended range radar mounted on a Bombardier Global 6000 business jet. Detection range exceeds 550 kilometers for air, sea, and ground targets. The radar is a fixed plank on top of the fuselage, no rotating dome like the old Boeing 707s, which means faster target tracking but requires specific flight patterns to cover blind spots fore and aft. Now compare that to what NATO almost bought. Boeing's E-7 uses a 737 airframe, which is bigger, heavier, more fuel-hungry than a business jet. The Wedgetail's been in development since the early 2000s, with Australia as the lead customer. It works, but it's also a large commercial aircraft conversion requiring extensive ground support infrastructure. The GlobalEye is already operational. UAE has had 5 since 2020, Sweden ordered 3, France signed for 2 with options for 2 more. Production line is live, expert customers exist, logistics are already proven. If you're thinking about critical thinking in complex systems, how to separate signal from noise when institutions give you contradictory information, this is a perfect case study. My book, Awake, the Practice of Critical Thinking in an Age of Self-Lies, walks through exactly this kind of analysis. It's available in ebook and audiobook. Subscribers get 10% off, and you can grab the first chapter for free in the description links below. What the raw numbers show is a capability gap NATO cannot really afford to leave open. These 14 E3s are scheduled to retire by 2035. They're based at Geilenkirchen, Germany, and they've been flying missions over Eastern Europe, the Baltics, the Mediterranean, anywhere NATO needs persistent airborne radar coverage. One E-3 at 30,000 feet covers 312,000 square kilometers. 3 in overlapping orbits can surveil all of Central Europe, basically. If those planes age out without replacements, NATO loses its airborne command and control backbone, so the timeline matters here. Saab says first GlobalEye deliveries can start before 2030, full transition complete by 2035. Boeing's E-7 timeline was similar when the program existed, but now there's no program. If NATO had stuck with a Wedgetail after the US cancelled, they'd be betting on Boeing restarting production for a single European order, while Saab's already building GlobalEye. The industrial logic is stark here, isn't it? And if we strip away the diplomatic language, what's really moving here is ultimately trust. America picked space-based surveillance over crewed aircraft. Fine, that is a strategic choice, no problem. But it left European allies exposed mid-procurement. The Dutch MOD explicitly cited the US exit as proof Europe needs its own industrial base. So it's not really anti-American rhetoric, it is just basic risk management. If your primary security partner can unilaterally cancel a major defense program you are jointly funding, you start looking for vendors who will not vanish overnight. And this fits the broader pattern as well. We've actually got a whole playlist on how Europe is systematically decoupling from US dependencies. Energy, digital infrastructure, defense procurement. Check it out after this video. Each case follows the exact same architecture. The USA either exits voluntarily or becomes unreliable. Europe and Canada build alternatives, sovereignty shifts. For American defense contractors, this should be setting off alarms. Boeing just lost a multi-billion euro NATO contract because the US government killed Boeing's own program. Raytheon, Lockheed, Northrop, they're all watching European allies explicitly prioritize local industry. The financial exposure is measurable. Boeing's defense revenue hit $18.5 billion in Q1 2024, but international military sales represent a shrinking share as European procurement shifts. When NATO spent $380 billion on defense in 2023, American contractors assumed they'd capture the bulk of equipment contracts, but that assumption is breaking. The institutional response is telling as well. After the E-7 collapse, NATO's procurement agency shifted the program to Alliance Future Surveillance and Control, rebranding it as a system of systems rather than a simple aircraft swap. In normal words, that means they're building redundancy so one country's exit cannot kill the whole program again. That is procurement architecture designed explicitly to bypass single-country dependency like this. Denmark already chose a European air defense system over US Patriots. We analyzed that one. I'm going to link it to the screen. The trend is not subtle at all. Denmark went with MBDA SAMP-TNG in a deal worth over $4 billion US, explicitly citing European industrial cooperation and interoperability with French and Italian systems. It's the same pattern. American system is available, European alternative is chosen, sovereignty cited as justification. In terms of what's going to happen next, if this deal closes, it becomes the template. France is already buying GlobalEye, Germany is exploring options after publicly expressing interest. If a dozen European air forces standardize on Swedish AWACS, you're looking at a sustained production run, shared logistics, interoperable training. That is the foundation for a parallel defense ecosystem that doesn't root through Washington. We can sketch the sequence at the end of the day. NATO awards the contracts formally, probably announced at a summit, likely the Ankara summit in July, first aircraft delivered in 2028 or 2029. By 2032, the E-3 fleet will most likely be retired and Europe will be flying Swedish radar planes that America has zero control over. 40 years of Boeing monopoly ended because Boeing's own customer abandoned them first. The absurdity is the point here, isn't it? NATO didn't choose European sovereignty as an ideological stance. They chose it because America made Boeing unreliable by canceling the American order. The quiet part is now said out loud. If the US won't commit to its own defense contractors on alliance programs, Europe will build its own supply chains, and they just did. The Denmark decision that I mentioned earlier, where they picked European missiles over American Patriots, follows the exact same playbook. We break down the financial mechanisms and what it means for US defense exports in that video. I'm going to link it to the screen right now. Watch that next because the pattern is accelerating and the implications go way beyond individual contracts. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe and I'll see you all on the next one.